Celebrities are like cars. As time goes on, they break down. Welcome to Beyond the Screen. I'm Nate, and these are the top 10 worst celebrity breakdowns caught on camera. Number 10. Tom Cruise. Tom is an interesting fella. There is absolutely no denying that. In his youth, he was one of Hollywood's go-to leading men, but his career and skills as an actor have slowly been going down for a long time. There are a ton of Tom Cruise moments to choose from where we could pinpoint his rage, but today we're going to talk about something that happened on the set of one of his last Mission Impossible movies. An audio clip was released of Tom yelling at several crew members with pure rage in his voice. The crew were accused of not following safety protocols that were in place at the time, being 2020, the masks and the 6 feet please. In his rant, Tom is heard swearing and screaming about the rules and how that if he wants something to happen, that it was going to happen. The rant went viral, but Cruise defended the rant rather than apologizing for it, claiming that he said what he said and that the stakes were pretty high at the time. While this may have happened at a time when Hollywood was shut down and a lot of productions were on hold, that's not an excuse to harass the people trying to make you look good. Number 9. Christian Bale. Christian is a very versatile actor, physically and skilled. He's able to shrink and grow his body seemingly at will, and he's played everything from a skinny substance addict to Batman. In 2008, Christian starred in the third film of the Terminator franchise, Terminator Salvation. While he was filming a scene, director of photography Shane apparently moved into Christian's line of sight. This caused Christian to snap out of character and into defense mode. There is now just an infamous audio clip of Christian yelling at Shane floating out there in the world, and to make matters worse, anyone who tried to calm Christian down were met with an equally swift verbal lashing. While the cinematographer was just checking a light to make sure that it was in the right place, doing his job, Bale made it his mission to share his intense feelings with the entire crew. When the audio leaked, he apologized for his actions and told the world to praise the crew for their incredible work. While the movie turned out okay, visually speaking, the project as a whole is remembered as one of the worst Terminator movies ever made. Number 8. Nicolas Cage. The most unhinged man in Hollywood history, one of the few people who somehow managed to star in billions of movies but has barely seen or kept a cent of it. During a press junket in 1990, Nick went on a talk show called Wogan to discuss his latest project, Wild at Heart. When the host Terry Wogan announced Cage, he entered with karate kicks, a front flip somersault, and he threw wads of cash at the audience because he was Nick Cage, man! He finally sat down, and moments before the interview truly began, Nick asked if he could just take his jacket off, get cozy. Well, he took it off, and the shirt underneath of it. If people thought that Nick was still all together, they were proven very wrong during this interview. Despite the content being relatively tame, the entire time you can see the sweat just glistening off of Nick's chest. Because, hey, guess what? Wearing a leather jacket on your bare chest is beyond uncomfortable. Sure, it might look cool until you take it off and you're just covered in a heat rash. Nick's always been a bit of a Looney Tune, but his behavior in the 1990s was peak wacko and well documented thanks to him literally being in like 12 movies at least every year. Number 7. Amanda Bynes. Amanda got her start on All That, the Nickelodeon version of Saturday Night Live. It had a stellar cast including Kenan Thompson, Drake Bell, and other people, and eventually the producer decided to offer Amanda her own series, The Amanda Bynes Show. It became one of Nickelodeon's most watched shows to date, and as she got older, she was picked up by several studios to star in non-Nickelodeon projects like She's the Man and Easy A. However, Amanda took a hiatus in 2013 following a very public mental breakdown. According to Amanda, she became addicted to the devil's lettuce at a very young age, and while it wasn't an addiction at first, with more movie roles came more pressure and a need to find a new way to cope. This eventually led her to more drastic substances. In 2013, Amanda posted a series of bizarre tweets where she seemed to be insulting basically everyone that she could think of, and eventually she was arrested and placed under a psychiatric hold. She was accused of several hit-and-run incidents and was officially charged with reckless endangerment and criminal possession of herbs and spices. Her parents then placed her under a conservatorship until 2022. Number 6. Mel Gibson. The leading man of famous films like Braveheart and the original Mad Max movie, Mel Gibson has had a pretty steady career, thanks to him also being the director of many of his films, including Braveheart. In 2006, a DUI cost him a few years off his career. According to Mel, he had been under the influence of no-no juice at the time and was just plain angry. He was pulled over because you shouldn't be in a car in that state, and he he was recorded via body cam shouting anti-Semitic rants at the officers, saying things that I'm not going to repeat and that you should not Google. Following his arrest, he apologized for the harsh words, but the damage had already been done, aka the press already knew. He was thrown on the bench for a while, but as we all know, he still makes movies to this day. In fact, in recent years, he has placed a lot of the blame on the officers for illegally filming him. Gee, what's worse, a DUI or camcorder footage? Number 5. Michael Richards. Michael is best known for his character Cosmo Kramer on the legendary sitcom Seinfeld, but these days you might know him for his racist tirade at the Laugh Factory in Los Angeles. In 2006, Michael was filmed dropping some very harsh comments in front of a crowd of people who just wanted to hear some jokes from Kramer. Instead, they heard Cosmo shout the N-word over and over again at a man in the crowd. He also made some pretty interesting remarks that I'm not going to repeat online or ever. The video went viral, being broadcasted on news networks across the country. Michael apologized for his actions, claiming that he was heckled by someone and that it sent him off. Throughout the tirade, many of the audience members weren't sure if he was trying to be funny or if they were his genuine thoughts, but by the end of it, it was pretty obvious that it was unscripted and uncalled for. Number 4. Steve-O. Steve was once a world-famous stuntman whose journey to sobriety is honestly inspirational. Unfortunately, in his early days of fame, Steve was known for having a sweet tooth for illegal substances. This made him an excellent guest on late-night talk shows. Host of On Too Late, Adam Carolla found out the hard way that you should never encourage Steve-O to do anything before getting on camera. During one late-night appearance in the mid-2000s, Steve is definitely on a few things. The host suggests that he's had a few adult beverages in preparation for the game, but his speech is so slurred beyond comprehension other than the B word being hurled at the audience over and over again. You know, the one that rhymes with snitch. He then begins to tell the host that he loves him, but that he will end his life right there. He then sloppily hugs Adam before trying to flip his chair with him inside of it. His issue with substances was very well documented throughout the years, but this late night appearance will always live rent-free in my skull. Thankfully, as I mentioned earlier, he did win his battle with substance and is currently 15 years sober, now spending most of his time running a podcast with Adam. I have a lot of respect for this dude. He went from, "I'm Steve-O, and this is a scorpion pit," and now he's like, "And now let's hear a word from today's sponsor, Audible." Number 3. Britney Spears. Britney began her downward spiral in 2007 after her divorce from Kevin Federline. She not only shaved her head, but she went on a rage-fueled rampage across the city, taking down anyone in her path. After being swarmed by photographers at a gas station in LA, she grabbed an umbrella and just swung it over and over again, and especially at one of the cars, attempting to smash its window. She also hurled just so many swear words at basically anyone and everyone with a camera, eventually launching her umbrella towards the crowd. This was the main incident that landed her in a psychiatric hold. Surprise, surprise! She was placed under conservatorship, which she was eventually released from, but she's been making headlines again recently for some very odd behavior on TikTok, but we'll leave that for another list. Number 2. Kanye West. Kanye was slowly going mad in the eyes of the public way back in 2010. As the years went by, he made more and more appearances on TV, but it wasn't until 2018 where his political beliefs got him heated on Jimmy Kimmel Live. When Jimmy asked Kanye how he felt about the response to his decree that he was all for the president at the time, Donald Trump, he defended his statements by claiming that he didn't have to conform to some united mindset and that he was a little bit upset at all the backlash, but that a part of him kinda liked the hate. He then suggested that the world was in a simulation and claimed that we were just all unpaid actors. For basically 20 minutes, he just went off about metaphors, the concept of love, and he compared himself to the Son of God. This interview was only a short time after his anti-Semitic tweets were circulating the internet. Ye even made a joke about the anxiety of asking his publicist to appear on the show. He was fairly calm in his delivery of his opinions, but he made sure that his opinions were known. Number 1. Charlie Sheen. Charlie rose to fame in the early 80s after starring in a slew of cult classics like Red Dawn, The Boy Next Door, and Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and a little brief but memorable cameo. He fell into the mainstream, however, in 2003 when he started playing the character Charlie Harper in the sitcom 2.5 Men. So good that even just mentioning it got the theme song stuck in your head. However, in 2009, he was arrested for attempting to harm his wife Brooke Mueller on several occasions. At the time of the arrest, both parties had been indulging in adult beverages, with Sheen becoming enraged beyond control. Following this, a restraining order was placed, prohibiting Sheen from being within 100 feet of both Brooke and their children. Despite all the controversy, Charlie was later seen doing press for an upcoming movie on the Today Show when the interviewer asked Charlie what was behind his sudden behavior, claiming that he was being perceived as angry and erratic. But Sheen responded with, "Oh, no, I'm just passionate. Okay, I'm a passionate man," before launching into a no snow fueled tirade. He claimed his brain functioned within a separate realm to ours, and Charlie's interview was defensive to say the least, with his energy just being weird and aggressive the entire time. Even since then, Charlie has maintained this weird air of arrogance, like he's still got his head jammed right up his backside. He still thinks he's the king of TV and winning, when in reality, this is probably the first time you've heard about him in a while. And those are the worst celebrity breakdowns caught on camera. If you want to see a part 2, please let us know by leaving a like on the channel. Follow us for more celebrity content each and every day. Thank you for stopping beyond the screen, and we'll see you next time.